At this point, there is no front suspension on the car. Everything's gone except for the steering linkage. Honestly, everything came off really easy. I haven't even had a reason to use a 1/2-inch ratchet or breaker bar or anything. I used an impact gun just to make things go faster, but I don't think I needed that either. So that's what the car looks like with no front suspension. For what it's worth, here are the parts I took off the car. I still have the spacers bolted on. I still have this bolted together. You can see I took the tops of the strut towers off and everything. I've got new ones to put on. Some people have asked me what springs I've got in here to make it sit so high. If you look, I think you could see that there. They're factory BZX tagged springs with nothing done to them. I don't know. What else? Engine bay is fairly empty. Strut tower is taken apart or taken off. Pile of tools I needed. This might be helpful to some people. A lot of things that people said that you needed, you don't really need. And really I didn't use everything over there. You can see I've got the little screw from a weight jack. I actually used that to do some measuring to see what would be involved in making weight jacks. In terms of what you need, let me see. That's 13/16 right there. That is lug nuts and tops of the strut towers. You need an 18mm socket. 18 ends up being a bunch of things, but mostly the control arms. Again, that little Earthquake XT, awesome little gun. It was able to reach in between the control arms and in all sorts of spaces you can't normally get an impact gun, and just zipped all the bolts right off. 19mm. The 19mm is tie rod ends. This combination is what I use to take the cotter pins out. Got a few 1/2-inch things. I actually didn't end up using the ratcheting 1/2-inch. I used this long reach snap-on 1/2-inch and the 1/2-inch socket on the Milwaukee. 1/2-inch things are, let me see, the endlinks were 1/2-inch, and also the bolts that held the strut tower tops on. 24mm. I got all sorts of different sizes listed for the ball joints. 24mm was the size of the nuts on the top of the ball joints. Big hammer. Used that to break all the joints. The pry bar right there. Medium-sized pry bar, nothing massive. I used that to pull the springs out of the pockets. It really wasn't a big deal. It wasn't the big deal that everybody makes. And that Lyle pickle fork assembly, it has an extension for, I don't know, let me see, maybe if I do this. Hopefully you can see it. Hopefully you can see the part number. It's 41500. This thing is awesome also. I have not run across anything that this doesn't fit yet. I've worked on everything from imports to F-bodies to my big Cummins Dodge. The little assembly to put it on an air hammer is nice. The extension works well. It doesn't seem to unscrew when you're using it. All the F-body stuff, ball joints and everything, use the smallest fork there. Jack-wise, I started with one of these big like low profile jacks, shop jacks. I figured that this would actually help stabilize things and stuff. Really unnecessary so far. I finally got tired of dragging that around and grabbed one of these little race aluminum jacks. That actually saved me a little bit of time and a little bit of carrying stuff around. Oh, penetrant. It's a good idea. Cover all the threads that you're loosening before you loosen them, before you break them. Another thing I started doing is some kind of a bucket or something to throw trash in. It seems to me like every time you take these cars apart, half the stuff breaks coming apart. This wasn't too bad. It's just a pile of bushings and some other stuff. Some odds and ends. Honestly, so far, I don't know what the big deal is. It has gone very smoothly. Nothing's gotten jammed up. Nothing has been a problem. I think before I continue, next step is probably to loosen the motor mounts, take the hardware off the motor mounts, and take the hardware off the brake lines, and at that point I can drop the cross member, the K-Member. And I don't know, like I said, it's going surprisingly smoothly. I was not expecting this to be quite this easy, especially on a, what is this thing? It's an 87, so 30-some-year-old car. And as far as I know, almost all of this except for that sway bar are factory parts. The thing has 120-some thousand miles on it, and everything still has factory tags on it. Even the brake calipers had some factory tags on them. I may replace all the brakes and the hardware and stuff there. I've never, I don't think I've ever replaced the front ones. The back ones are actually LT1 4th gen brakes, so that's completely different. The whole back end is completely different. I'll show you guys at some point. I think that's it. Yep. Let's call that a night. Night, guys.